Over the past 30 years, religion has been on a steady course in the West and in America. It has been on a very steady and consistent decline, just dropping off the face of the earth. Now, there's many reasons to this, and I'm going to get into them in a minute, but what we're seeing with Gen Z is a little bit different. They're starting to find God. They're starting to find religion. They're starting to realize that these holes that are in their soul can't be filled from any other source. Now, while studying this and looking up the statistics and everything, they're saying that the Zoomers are the only ones who are losing their religious ties and they're moving on to other things. I'm going to explain more in a minute, but there is no such thing as atheism. There's no way for somebody to have no religion or no faith at all. It just turns into something different. I'll explain. But out of every article I've seen, they're all claiming the same thing. That they can't find any reason at all, that there's no reason why this generation of people is just becoming non-religious. They can't find a single reason why. And this is insane. But we're going to go into why religion has fallen. And then we're going to go into why it's coming back. And it's going to be pretty simple, but there is some deep things that you guys are going to freak out about. It starts to allude to the fact that their rituals are not working as effectively anymore. And there's a serious reason why these rituals aren't working anymore. The rituals and all the negative entities that these things work with are starting to backfire against themselves. And it's going to blow your guys' mind whenever you see the irony behind the rituals and what they're doing. It's goofy. It's ridiculous. But first, we're going to jump into the nitty-gritty, the controversy, the juicy stuff that everybody yells at me for. Why are people leaving religion? Why were people leaving religion? Or why has this certain generation turned their back on God? Now, like I said earlier, there's no such thing as leaving religion. It's just going to turn to something else. So these people that you meet and you speak to that are supposedly atheists, what they start to do is they worship artists, musicians, Hollywood. They start to worship brands like Nike. We are faith-based creatures. God created us to worship Him and Him alone. But if we don't have that void filled, we're going to take it and put it towards something else. So whenever you want to turn your back on God, something else will fill its place. It's no different with gin attachments. I'll break this down really quickly because I think it's helpful and more people should know. But for everybody to be happy in life, we have 4 outlets that we need to express. One of them is a religious outlet. The other one's a social outlet. The third one is a creative outlet. And the fourth one is a physical outlet. And those could be in any order. It just depends on the individual. But we need those 4 things to really be fulfilled in life, to have a high vibration state, to feel really good mentally and physically. Now, whenever jinn, demon, shaitan come into your life and start to corrupt you and mislead you towards temptation, what they do is take a piece out of those outlets. So whenever people are like really deep in it, or even at the beginning stages, one of those outlets will be missing. In the coaching calls, this is one of the main things I go over with everybody. And by the way, before I continue, I'm going to be shutting those calls down. We're going to be moving into something slightly different. So if you want to book a call with me, the last 3 dates or 2 dates are up right now. This is going to be the last chance. I'm going to shut that down. I'm moving into more consistent kind of things. Like one call I can get through, I can get a lot of information, but I can't do the best of my ability. I'm going to be dropping fitness information in it as well, helping people physically fit at the same time. You have to be physically fit or else you're still never going to be happy with life. So I'm adding that in there. It's going to be a lot bigger thing. So if you guys wanted to speak with me, now's the time. This is the last chance. I'm going to be getting rid of those calls. But back to it, the point I'm making is whenever these negative things come into our life, they have to sacrifice from the positive. So one of the main things that's been happening in modern society is whenever people become atheists, they start to just fill the void with something else. And they're starting to get to the point and they're seeing others deal with the same thing too, where they're just worshiping other things. They're not going to sit there and just not worship anything ever. We're not made that way. We have it in the Bible. We have it in the Quran. We have it in the Torah. We're made to worship God. It's our own reaction. Our natural reaction is to give worship to something greater than ourselves. We're not actually supposed to have this massive ego and think we're the greatest thing ever. And so over time, this void that's inside their soul is picking up these negative habits, meaning the people are always going to be unhappy. And they've hit a point where they're tired of not being happy. They're tired of being unfulfilled in life. Now, one of the main reasons why we've kind of got away from religion initially is relationship manipulation. So this whole system in the West and in America is created to divide families. You could see this blatantly through Section 8. Say there's a woman, a single mom, she's working, she's trying to do her best, and she needs some assistance paying her rent, which is fine. She should be given that assistance for paying the rent. But what happens is if she starts seeing a man or starts getting in a relationship, they will take that funding away from her and kick her family out on the street. So these women that need help the most, if a good man shows up in their life, they're going to make them homeless. They are disciplining women so that they don't get married, so they don't seek out relationships, because it's like an insecurity thing. You're never going to feel secure in a relationship if you think you're going to become homeless if you get one. So the whole system is to divide the family. They want to divide the family so they can indoctrinate your own children. And so this is why I say it's like relationship poison, relationship manipulation. This is one of the things that they did to break this up. People are getting ideas and expectations for relationships that are just unrealistic. And this goes for men and women both. And I'm going to go down to this for a second because I see issues on both sides that's just insane. So I'll dig into the men first just because you guys are probably going to take this a little bit better, but you're also kind of delusional sometimes. I get it. You want a good woman, and it's hard to really find mass majority of them, or if you do find them, they're already married. That's more likely the case. Good women are married and have children, or at least the women that men want to marry, right? They're already married. But one thing people are missing. So God created a pair for everybody. Everybody, there's somebody out there for you, and I firmly believe that. It's told to us in every single religion, we're made in pairs. Now, the issue is that person is going to be like you. If you were a degenerate like me, who used to work in adult entertainment and do all kinds of crazy bad stuff, a virgin's not coming into your life. And I've seen this too many times where these dudes are like, oh, I'm only going to marry a virgin and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, your early 20s, you did the most haram things ever. Why do you think you deserve that? And then also at the same time, do you think that woman's going to understand you? You guys aren't going to get along. You ain't going to have nothing to talk about. You're going to have nothing in common. She lived a very good, clean life. You didn't. And so the struggles you went through, she didn't go through. So you guys are never going to understand each other's perspectives. It's just never going to work. That's insane. So all these dudes out here, they're like, oh, I only want this virgin and this, and this. Bro, chill. If you've been reckless in life, you need to stop expecting all that. Now, there's still good women out there. You still can find one. Clean your act up and they'll show up. I promise you. It just happens. But let me get into the women a little bit because this one I'll probably ruffle a couple feathers too. Now, the same rule applies. If you grew up doing all these bad haram things or working in clubs and doing all this crap, you can't expect this millionaire jacked Chad that respects you but also extremely masculine. It's just not going to happen. The statistics of finding that exact man is like less than 1%. It is so small. You gotta negotiate. First of all, nobody's perfect. And I don't know why we're all out here expecting perfection. When entering a relationship, the most important thing for me personally is accountability. This is what I'm looking for. It's not perfection. It's not even anywhere near perfection. I don't care about that. Can you own up to your mistakes, learn and grow from them? Because that's more important. That means the long term, it's going to get better. If you can't take accountability, it's just going to get worse. We cannot expect perfection out of an imperfect creature. No human is perfect. So whenever we have these crazy high standards, it's just never going to work. You're never going to be fulfilled because you're expecting gold out of a pile of dog crap. I didn't mean to compare men to a pile of dog crap, but you guys get the analogy. You guys know what I mean. But the point is, so they put these expectations into us, and a lot of this is due to social media and Facetune and crazy stuff. And it skewed our perspective. And they did this intentionally so we would stay alone, we would stay single. This is part of the curse that I'm going to explain in a minute. But whenever masculine and feminine come together, it's a near unbreakable bond. Masculine and feminine are two different types of strength. There is strength on both sides of the spectrum. And whenever both strengths come together, and it can only be external. I don't want to hear no crap about oh, I'm masculine and feminine. That's not a real thing. You can't do that. But whenever you get the two together, it's near unbreakable. So what they do is put false expectations on the situation. They put you into a place where you're going to expect something that's just not real. It's not a thing that exists. And they keep you divided to keep the masculine and feminine separated. And so Gen Z, notice this. They see this clear as day. They know damn well that they don't want to be divorced and single at 35. They don't want to go to college and waste their whole youth just working and being a slave, and then they wake up at 35 and they can't have a child without it being autistic. They're seeing this. They know this is crap. They know that my generation and up has been lied to. And so what is the main thing that this group of people hate the most? Religion. because they're like, oh, it's gender norms or this and that and this and that. Like, quit crying. First of all, we're made from biology. There's rules. We have physics. There's things in our life that we can't control. God put barriers on our life. So there's certain things we need to abide by. And just because it hurts your feelings and makes you not happy doesn't mean it's not real. It's to the point where a lot of society has been believing a lie. They would rather believe a lie than face the truth. And Gen Z is not going for it anymore. So what do they look for? The opposite of what's being told to them. They look for, hey, what's the community of the opposite? Good chunk of Christians, good chunk of Muslims, religion, faith, churches. This is the opposite. Find an atheist that's been married for 70 years or 50 years or 40 years. Find an atheist that spent their whole life together, got buried together. You ain't gonna find it. It's just not gonna work. You have to acknowledge that there is something greater than yourself to have respect for other people. When you sit here and think that humans are the greatest thing ever created and that we're perfect, your expectations are going to be blown out of proportion. It's never going to be real. So I kind of blended the why people got away from religion and why they're getting into it together just because it was easier to explain that way. But there's a big part of this that I need people to be aware of, and I put it at the end for a reason. It's the curse. It is the rituals that they're doing, and this is the fun part that I'm going to expose. I've noticed if I put this stuff at the beginning of the video, it gets suppressed a bit. So what this curse is doing, and it's out of the Kabbalah. We'll explain it a little bit more in detail. I don't want to give the game to people because I know there's certain people watching this that try the crap. But the essence of this curse that they're placing on the world, and they're doing it through movies and music and TV and that kind of stuff. But what this curse does is it demonizes being masculine and it demonizes being feminine. And what they're doing is telling you that if you're too masculine, it's bad, and if you're too feminine, it's bad. So once again, masculine and feminine are two different types of strength, right? They are both strength. And I don't want to hear this crap about men stronger, women stronger. No, dude, there's two different types of strength. Go look at the Big Five personality exams. Go study it. This is science-backed stuff on how we function, and we need both. We need both. There's not just an option. It's not just one's better than the other. That's crap. And so what they start telling people is you need to balance. And I hate this word balance. Nobody that's gotten anything massive in life, the highest performing people in the world, don't have balance. It's not a thing for high achieving people. So if you want to be highly achieving, you don't need balance. Balance is external. It's not an internal thing. That we're all created different. Whenever people are thinking oh, I'm going to be balanced, they're thinking they're going to be perfect. And it's just not real. So they're doing something different and they're disguising it as balance. So what it is say there's masculine and feminine. It's a spectrum and two different types of strength. And if you start becoming too masculine, they tell you, hey, you need to balance it out. Or you start becoming too feminine, they say the same thing. Hey, you need to balance it out. It's bad. You're being too feminine, too masculine. And what they do in return is they tell you to bring it back in. They say you're being too masculine, so bring it back in. They're not telling you to go, oh, you're masculine way over here. Now you need to take your feminine way over here. They're not doing that. And that's just not possible. That's not how you are made. We're taught this idea that we're supposed to be okay being ourselves. And it's okay to be yourself unless you're a feminine woman or you're a masculine male. If you're outside of those two things, then you're the problem somehow. So what they do is they tell you to get this balance in your life. And what that balance is actually suppression. They're asking you to suppress a part of yourself. And they do this through these rituals. There is so many subliminal messages inside of movies and music. And what that's doing is corrupting people's mind. They push this out in the masses. There is one demon, and I don't even want to use the term jinn for this one specifically. One demon that is responsible for miscarriages and a bunch of other things. This one specifically, I'm not even going to say its name. This thing is just disgusting. It's something I've always hated, even whenever I was more involved in pagan beliefs. Fuck this one. But that spirit is the reason for Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, all this crap. Anything that demonizes women is coming from this spirit. And what's ironic about it is this is the demon that most women fall to. Now keep in mind that there is a male equivalent to this too. It's the exact same thing, just on the male side. Whenever you read up on it, it talks about how it causes infertility and all these kind of things. It's anti-man and anti-woman. They destroy it. Gen Z is not going for this crap. They're tired of it. They're feeling empty and hopeless inside. They don't see a beautiful future, so they're turning to God, and then all of a sudden they're seeing a future again. There's no future without God. It doesn't exist. Because of this hopelessness and this destruction of the masculine and feminine energy, it is backfiring on them. Because these kids, these younger generation, what they're doing is they're feeling hopeless so much, and they put this generation in just pure darkness. And I can't even say just that generation. It's like everybody. They put everybody in pure darkness. And what happens whenever everything is pitch black? Light shines very bright. The darker they make society, the brighter God's light will shine. And I know I sound like a crazy Christian right now, but it is true. That's exactly what happens. It's what happened to me. Sometimes that's what it takes. It takes just going into pure darkness to understand, like, hey, wait, there's light way over there. Let's go that direction. And that's what's happening today. That's what's happening to these kids. Now, the philosophy behind the Tiny Hat Club. You guys know what I'm talking about. When I was studying Kabbalah, and there's a lot of people who claim they've studied it and they are full of crap. First of all, women, they don't teach it to women. Second of all, you can't learn it. There's a problem with it is the books, the written tradition is different from the oral tradition. There's two different types. They do not allow you to have the oral tradition. You can go pick up the books right now and read them all you want. People be like, oh, it's like a little spiritual. It's a little like trendy, but it's nothing crazy. That's not what it is. Now, the oral tradition is insane. One of the first things that they were teaching me back before I started talking about Palestine and pissed them off was the concept of morality. This was the one thing they wanted to break out of my mind. So this is exactly how they explained it to me. They said, if a tsunami hits a village, wipes out everybody in the village, you may say that's a bad thing. Maybe for the people there, that may seem like a bad thing. But if you own the construction company that rebuilds that whole village, that's the greatest thing that ever happened to you. And that is their genuine outlook on life. They think if pain is caused to somebody, it is completely okay if somebody else benefits from it. This is true. This is one of the biggest things that people hate when I say about these people. It is true. This is how they look at it. This is the oral tradition of the Kabbalah. This is the first thing they do to try to break your mind out of morality, to get you away from God and be comfortable doing bad things. Now, what's really wild about all this, and it's kind of a more positive note, there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. So there was a couple of the studies I looked up. Maybe I'll pop this one up for you guys to see. One of the craziest studies I found is that Gen Z is the most generous generation ever. It's a lot of gen, is weird to say. I don't know. But they are giving more to charity than anyone else. They're smoking the boomers in charity. They're smoking everybody. So not only are they finding God, they're living by it too. It's not just prayer. Their actions are showing it. Their actions are proving it. And the reason why I'm talking about this and telling you guys this is like, one, so you guys can be aware and you guys can know who the problem is, but so you guys understand there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not all darkness. There is a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. I do believe everything will be okay. God has a plan, and sometimes these dark, chaotic moments are what we need so we can make improvements, so we can make changes. So if you're feeling really hopeless in life and you're like, I don't want to bring a child into this world and all kinds of this like really pessimistic outlook, things are actually getting better. They're not getting worse. Sure, there's a lot of chaos going on. There's a lot of friction, but it takes a lot of friction to make things change fast. So keep that in mind. Whenever there's friction going on, it doesn't mean like the whole world's going to end. Like, yeah, we're getting some signs of the end times. I'll make a video about that. But life goes on. It's got to. So I appreciate you guys. It was another yapping session. Concluded another one. Got some t-shirts dropped. I'm shutting down the coaching calls and switching into a more complete program. I can't do that in one call, which is why I'm shutting it down. It's going to be a weekly thing. It's going to be more of a 30-day calls every week. Diet plan, everything. So it's a better system, help people with Rukia. I'll be able to help people so much more doing this than I can in like a 45-minute phone call. But if you guys want to speak to me, I have the last days posted up on Gumroad right now. Go check it out. And thank you guys. I love every single one of you.